All right, welcome everyone to another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about websites. So
Website.
websites, now I know what you're thinking, websites. We use them every single day. What could be so complicated? But
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
a lot more going on under the hood, so to speak. And we've got some really interesting source material to help us break this down. Um, Especially this PDF file called y4 website-design ko1.pdf, which sounds pretty technical, but it's
Hmm.
actually got some really good insights. And I think by the end of this, you'll be pretty surprised by what goes into making a website.
It's true.
Now, to kind of set the stage a little bit, let's just talk about the basics. Like when we say website, what are we even talking about?
Right. I mean, it's one of those things like we use them every day, so we don't really think about what they are. But really, the internet is kind of like this giant library, right? And instead of books, we have websites. And each website is kind of like a book itself, containing all sorts of information on tons of different topics.
Okay, so if a website is like a book, what are those individual pages that we click through?
Yeah, those are like the chapters in the book. And actually, our source uses a great example here. It talks about this website called Dino Earth, which is all about dinosaurs.
Oh, cool.
And it uses that to kind of illustrate this point, right? So like the dinosaur facts section or the gallery of dinosaur pictures, those are like individual chapters within the Dino Earth book.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, it's a good
The
one.
Dino Earth book. All right, that makes a lot of sense. But then our source also starts talking about things like content, design, and features. What's the difference between all these? And like, why do they matter so much when we're thinking about building a website?
That's a great question. So content is like the core information that you're sharing on your website, right? It's like the heart of it. The words, the pictures, the videos, whatever you're putting out there for people to see. The design, though, is how you present that content. It's like the visual layout, the colors you use, the fonts, all of that kind of aesthetic stuff. And then features are kind of like the interactive elements of the website, right? So things like videos, quizzes, contact forms, things that let users actually engage with the content and go beyond just reading or watching.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So it's not just about having the information, but it's about how you present it, how people interact with it.
Exactly.
Now, our source also mentions something really interesting here. It talks about collaboration. And I can definitely see how collaboration could be a huge advantage, especially when you're dealing with big, complex websites. But I'm also kind of curious, what are the potential downsides of collaboration? Could it also, like, slow things down or lead to arguments, like too many cooks in the kitchen?
Oh, absolutely. It's a double-edged sword, really. Because on the one hand, yeah, multiple perspectives can really enrich a project. You get different ideas, different skill sets. But it also requires a lot of coordination. I mean, everyone involved needs to have very clear roles, and they need to communicate well to avoid those conflicts and make sure things actually get done.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like building a house, right? You need the architects, you need the electricians, the plumbers. They all need to be working together smoothly, or else things are going to fall apart.
Exactly.
So I'm seeing this theme of balance here, right? Like between content and design and features, and between collaboration and maybe working solo. Now, I noticed our source also has this section on essential skills for website building. What's the deal with that? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, so this essential skills checklist is kind of like your website building toolbox, it's the foundation. And I think what they're getting at here is that there are some core skills you need no matter what kind of website you're building. Things like being able to add text boxes, embed links, upload images.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's not just about like having the vision for the website, it's actually knowing how to put those pieces together.
Exactly. The nuts and bolts.
Yeah. Now, speaking of putting pieces together, our source also mentions a lot of visual elements, like headers, tabs, and hyperlinks. I mean, these things aren't just decorative, are they? They actually play a big role in how people experience the website, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about user experience. So let's go back to that Dino Earth example.
Right.
The headers, those are like signposts. They tell visitors what each section is about. Tabs help organize the site's content, making it easy to navigate. And then hyperlinks, those clickable bits of text, they allow users to jump between different pages or even to external websites. It's all about making it easy and intuitive for the user to find what they're looking for.
Yeah, it's like having an invisible hand guiding you through all the information. Okay, so let's say I've built this amazing website. It's got great content, awesome design, all the features I could want. How do I actually get it out there for the world to see? What's this whole publishing process all about?
Yeah, so this is where it gets a little more technical. Publishing is basically the final step. It's kind of like taking your finished manuscript to a printing press. And our source has this cool visual here. It shows upload in progress, which is kind of a representation of what's happening. You're transferring all your website files to a web host. And you need a domain name, which is like your website's address on the internet, right? And then the web host is kind of like the physical space where your website lives online.
So there's actually a lot more going on behind the scenes than just hitting that publish button.
Oh, for sure. It's this whole ecosystem of technology and infrastructure.
Wow, this deep dive has been so eye-opening. I'm already thinking about all the different websites I want to create. So as a final thought, I'm kind of curious. What would you build if you had all the tools and skills? What kind of website would you create?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot.
Hmm. That's a tough one. There's so many possibilities. It really makes you think, what would I put out there in the world? What kind of impact would I want to make?
Exactly. And for you listening, what about you? What unique perspective or knowledge do you have that could be turned into a website? What are you passionate about that you could share with the world? The possibilities are really endless. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.
See ya.